Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. A rare species of Karen always allows itself too much. Well, one who met our OP also decided that the whole road belongs to her. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Karen thinks she owns the road. Backstory. I live in a 155-year-old house. Originally, all the land around it was part of the property, but over the years, the land was divided up and given to the past owner's friends to build homes. The main public road ends at an old abandoned house from the 1970s. Directly to the right of it is an easement that lets you get to my house and two other houses next door. The abandoned house has been abandoned for decades. Roof has collapsed, walls falling down, everything's a total mess. Recently, a large tree fell down over the driveway like an arch, kind of covering up that mess, which was nice. There's a boat in the driveway, so we all call it the boathouse. Story. I'd almost gotten home after driving almost 40 minutes from work. Tired and ready to take a break with my fur babies, I pulled down the road only to find some unfamiliar red car parked at the end of the road blocking the easement to my house. A woman was just standing there smoking a cigarette and looking at the boathouse. I pull up so she can see me. I expected her to notice me, get in her car, and pull forward out of my way so I could pass. Nope. Instead, she flicks her ash on the ground and approaches my car. I really didn't want to talk to her, but I thought maybe she was lost and wanted directions or something. I roll down my window, and before I can even give her a hello, she hits me with, "What are you doing?" Me. Huh? Karen. "This is my property. You need to leave." I want to point out to her that this was a public road, no one owns it, but I'm too nice of a person and hate confrontation. You do know there are 3 other houses down that road, right? I mean, this was her property. She should know at least that much. And don't worry, lady, no one wants to touch your crappy safety hazard of a house that junkies shoot up in. She looked at me for a moment, and I was confused as to what she was waiting for. Then, without apology, she turned and moved her car forward, barely enough for me to get past. I parked and looked back down the road to see she pulled back and was once again blocking our little easement. I told my boyfriend about her, and he wanted to go confront her to see if she really was the owner of the boathouse, since we've been trying to figure out who owns it now. All we know is that it was sold in a tax auction after the previous owner failed to pay any property taxes on it for years, but she had left by the time he managed to get off the phone with work. Here's to hoping she cleans up that house of horror so that our own property value increases, and here's also hoping she sells it and won't be our new neighbor. And our second story. Secretly trying to evict us? All right. Background. My cousin, her wife, and their 2 kids lived in a rented apartment along with 5 other resident units in a European country. It's not completely upscale, but it's definitely not slum, and it's a really beautiful place. And by lived, their landlord decided to evict as many residents as he could so he could renovate and bump up the rent by 3 times. Pretty crappy. This all occurred starting back in September. Now, Scumlord, as my cousin passionately called him, had tried to keep it a secret, but another tenant who did work on the apartments for a reduced rent found paperwork when he was fixing a broken window at Scumlord's residence, a very, very nice house. He shared it with the other residents because that paperwork were drafts of eviction notices for random things. Example, pictures of the residents of apartment 3 have been leaving garbage in the hallway. According to my cousin who lived in apartment 3, they kept finding bags of garbage outside their door. Not theirs, but ones full of fast food takeout and very unsettling magazines. My cousin's a vegetarian. She and her wife try not to eat takeout. It's definitely not their garbage. But back to the story. Basically, my cousin, her wife, and the other residents came together in their courtyard and realized that their landlord was faking these sorts of things to get them all evicted with photographic evidence. None of them were very happy, especially since one apartment was apparently being rented by couples who just had their first child. Another held an elderly couple who had nowhere else to go. 3 families, including my cousin, who'd been living there for over 10 years, and the maintenance guy who couldn't find anywhere closer to work and didn't have a car. And rent prices were already skyrocketing. These guys literally had nowhere else to go. Of course, they found this out while Scumlord was out of town, so they couldn't confront him, As they were stewing over this, my cousin's wife, let's call her Allie, had an idea. She and my cousin had been planning to repaint their living room because the paint was peeling, and Scumlord had said in email, paint it. He didn't specify how it was painted or what color was used. Allie suggested they all get permission to repaint their places, but in horrendous ways, then move out quickly. Everyone except the older couple jumped on board, which, as my cousin explained to me, they didn't want to start a fight in a losing battle. The older couple later managed to move into a retirement community that one of the families found for them to go to. Anyways, the rest of the residents agreed to it, and Scumlord was sent email requests for repaints, and he basically said, go for it in each one. I guess he thought he could get a free paint job done from them. So while juggling their normal lives, my cousin's family and the other 4 units all have to find new places, start packing, set up everything for the painting, and repaint their walls. My cousin decided to be extra vindictive and buy a crap ton of black paint along with varying neon colors. She and Allie then painted on as many layers of black paint as they could, after using primer of course, in every single room. Even the bathrooms and ceilings weren't spared. They finished in about mid-November, and they then let their kids, 5 and 8, loose with the neon colors. I'm talking handprints, random swaths of paint, got footprints on the ceiling, and just every random thing those 2 kids wanted. It, according to my cousin, was a glorious, horrific disaster. She told me there was even a butt print. Though she could have been exaggerating, she didn't know what the other places were like, only hearing that the maintenance guy painted rainbows everywhere, that the family in apartment 5 had just thrown different colored paints on the walls at random, etc. Thankfully, they, cousin's family, managed to find a place before Christmas, which was smaller, but it was in a good area of town. They sent their moving notice and booked it. 2 weeks later, after they settled into their new place, Scumlord's blowing up their cells. He was pissed by all the new looks. He wanted to sue them and threaten court. Cousin and Allie obliged. Court day comes, Scumlord actually had a lawyer and was suing all 5 of the former resident families at once. He claimed a whole bunch of crap, including all the reasons for the evictions. Maintenance guy destroyed him, provided proof about fake eviction evidence. Apparently, some of the garbage included receipts from Scumlord's own purchases. That damage to the sink in apartment 6 was actually from Scumlord trying to fix it, etc. Then they all provided the email printout of the paint requests, pointing out how Scumlord never specified how it was to be painted or the colors. The judge threw Scumlord's case out and ordered him to pay restitution for damages. My cousin's family got the restitution, and she watched in glee as Scumlord struggled to undo the paint damage before apparently giving up and trying to sell the building. So far, there have been no takers. Scumlord painted himself into a corner. And our last story. All of my employees wear white shirts. This is from the 80s. I was the East Coast expert on a big mainframe company network gear. I was associated with the manufacturing plant, but I did customer site visits to help field engineer either install or more often fix installations that weren't working. On customer visits, it was suit and tie. Since I often worked in computer rooms, I never wore white shirts because of the dirt issue. Plus, to be honest, they made me look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow guy. Normal was an up-and-down striped button-down shirt in a blue, pale green, etc. Fly to Boston to work with a sales droid on configuration of a system they were trying to sell to a big bank. Sales droid says, minor change. First, we need to go to this mandatory sales droid meeting headed up by the regional VP of sales. Fine. Get there, see if white shirts, ties, and me in my colored shirt. Sit in 5th row, room has about 50 to 60 droids. Regional VP gets on stage doing his best excite the troops to go out and sell millions speech, clapping and cheering, etc. Mid-sentence he sees me and stops. Hey you, where's your white shirt? Look around, figure he may be talking to me, so I point to myself. Yeah, you in the blue shirt. All of my staff, everyone that works for me wears a white shirt. Okay, good to know, thanks. Thanks? Get out and don't come back until you're wearing a white shirt. You want me to go and not come back unless I'm wearing a white shirt? Yes, get out now. So I get up, walk to the aisle, turn and go, hey, do you know who I am? No, I don't effing know who you are, and I don't effing care. Out. Super. Then for the rest of you, I'm OP, the East Coast expert in networking product out of Plant Name, and I work for the director of engineering there. So I don't work for him. And it's unlikely that I'll be back since I don't own a white shirt. Left, flew home, frantic voicemails from the sales droid about his customer. Next day, dropped into Director of Engineering's office to give trip report. He starts, "So, OP, you were a big hit at the sales meeting. VP of Sales called to apologize and wants you to come back." "Nope, not gonna happen. He comes here wearing a colored shirt and apologizes to me? I'll consider it." He's not gonna do that. "Fine, not traveling to that region. I'll talk to people on the phone. I can do my job that way just fine," and walked out. Called my sales droid and said we'd work on the phone. Not coming back up. Droid not happy, but understood. Week later, reception calls that I have a guest. Go to lobby, there's my director and the regional VP of sales wearing a blue shirt. Best apology ever. Edited to add, so in the 80s, network stuff was crazy expensive. The networking part of the deal was worth $1 million+ tying customers' existing mainframes. Fast host-to-host connections were new and a big deal, and some new mainframes together, so all in all, $4 to $5 million. And it wasn't going to fly without some help. So commissions for sales droid, manager, upper manager, and VP of sales. So a ton of money on the table for them. They got the deal, and I got a surprise bonus. But I still had to go to Boston. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.